because he always just goes active when defending.
I think if he's like.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, man. Come on. Ezri Konsa's an Arsenal player, folks. Ezri Konsa completes £51 million move to Arsenal from Aston Villa. What do we make of that? The Great Wall of Arsenal's just got stronger. And you know what, yeah? The way we move when it comes to the identifying defenders, foresight around defenders, getting deals done, etc., it's direct parallels to when we get attackers. It's always drawn out. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Now, I know Aston Villa fans don't want to hear this. Their team's been ransacked. You know, Onana's out for the season. Teleman's gone Man United. Konsa's gone Arsenal. Luka Dean's gone Paris Saint-Germain. Emi Martinez, that, you know, was going to leave, and now he's still here. There's a good chance he could depart before the window's gone. For a team that just won the Europa League, and obviously, you know, qualify for the Champions League next year and have been doing what Aston Villa have been doing in the last few years under Unai Emery, it's a tough pill to swallow. But as an Arsenal fan, I can tell you, you know, players don't stay forever. Projects, you know, sometimes run their course. And maybe Aston Villa players thought, you know what, this is where it hits. Because on paper, you know, you could argue, obviously, prior to Aston Villa getting ransacked, there's no need for Yuri Telemans to go to Man United. Obviously, the name, what Man United are, these things are always going to be there. The same case with Arsenal, which on paper, Konsa struggles to get ahead of William Saliba and Gabriel individually and collectively. We all know, you know, we're probably on course to play 48 all the way to 60 games. That's why we need depth. I'm all for this. Obviously, if you want to be the best, you have to look at what the best have done. You know, we want to dominate. Like, again, you have to chase the illusion of perfection. I don't think we're going to dominate to the extent that City did these last few years. But there's things you need to learn from Man City, which you saw with Gabriel Jesus and Zinchenko kind of setting us on our way. There's things you want to learn from PSG because they are the best footballing side. You want to be like Real Madrid in the Champions League and things like that. And you also want to learn from, you know, someone like Alex Ferguson. It's not the same, but what did Alex Ferguson got players from all over, but a big thing he used to do is always freshen up his squad, look around, okay, this team, he's a good player there, he's a good player there, he's a good player there, I'm bringing them in. And I think that's the vibe I get with the signing of Bruno G and Ezri Konsa, because again, I have to rate Konsa. He backs himself. All right, Saliba and Gabriel got their pros, I've got my pros, we've all got our cons. There's a lot of game time to go around. I back myself. Obviously, I can deputize that right back, which selfishly, as an Arsenal fan, that obviously helps. We've got an experienced player, and kind of relaying it back into Bruno G, you know, two players that are here for now sort of thing. They're both 28. They ain't won the Prem. They've done things at other clubs. You know, we're here to kind of keep seizing the present. I know resale value and all that jazz that people are going to talk about. And obviously he's English, so that helps us with registration purposes. I actually think we can field an 11 of English players now, you know, and let me actually go for it. I'm cheating a bit, but Tommy Setford in goal, Ben White right back, centre halves. Oh, Ezri Konsa, Marley Salmon, just for this, Miles Lewis Skelly left back, Declan Rice centre mid, Declan Rice, Dowman, Wanyeri, Saka, Madueke. Okay, I can't think of a striker in it, but you get the point in it. We can field a number of decent young players enough. Obviously, you look at the balance. A lot of our players are in prime years. A lot of our players are, you know, in win now mode, prime years, but got significant years. The Dowmans, the Wanyeris, the Marley Salmons, they're emerging prospects. But you get the point. Let's stay on task, people. And another point with Konsa. I know Aston Villa fans won't care, but a bit like Bruno G, both players had 2 years left on their deals. You're not going to get the fee that you got this summer, next summer. So in terms of just the cold-hearted balance sheet, removing the aspect of, you know, the eye test and what it means from a footballing perspective, you made a healthy profit. You wanted 60 million. You've agreed a deal worth 51 million plus 4 million add-on. So again, depending on how those things are all hit, 55 odd million quid. The England international has signed a 4-year contract with the option of a further year. So for him, he joins a club competing for the Premier League. He moves back to London, gets to say played for Arsenal, joins a competitive side. And also, I'd imagine Aston Villa would have given him a new deal, but bit like Bruno at Newcastle with Ezri Konsa, because you got 2 years left, there has to have been some level of communication over a new contract. And at 28, you've got a 4-year deal with an option of a fifth. A football career is short in it, so you've got a bit of security in that regards. The Athletic reported on August the 19th that the Premier League champions were closing in on a deal to sign the 28-year-old centre-back. Still gives me goosebumps, people. I don't know if you can see when they say Premier League champions, and we're defending our title today. I think we kick off at 8 p.m. against Coventry, so join me on my YouTube channel at 7 p.m. to begin the watch along. He made 286 appearances for Villa since joining from Brentford. He's played 28 times for England, people. He was an important member of the England squad at the World Cup, although some of his moments were a bit of a clanger. We've brought Zolis to the club, we've brought Millier to the club, we've brought Bruno G to the club. So yeah, and look at that list, man, to depart Villa Park. I even forgot Morgan Rogers. So yeah, Morgan Rogers, Luca Dean, Yuri Telemans, Konsa. It's a mad thing, really. I even forgot about Morgan Rogers. Can you blame me as an Arsenal fan? Now, people, if we look at this, this is like the Athletic did a piece about inside Ezri Konsa's move to Arsenal. Decision on price, homegrown issue, and chat with Mikel Arteta. From the outside, Arsenal spending heavily on another defender may seem an unexpected turn in the summer when so much of the focus has been on strengthening their attack. We needed another defender, whether it was a right back, a centre half. Saliba's injury only brought it to the forefront. Yes, a lot of us Arsenal fans could compartmentalize that, wanted a centre mid, but it was all around left wing and attacking reinforcements in addition to Zolis. So 100% really didn't work. Bacola, he's looking mad. Morgan Rogers, 117 million, didn't match it. And there's probably some other isms and schisms that I haven't referred to, people. Internally, however, the need for another centre-back had long been established, true, because Magalhaes has also had injuries, and it's about relationships, you know, whether they're A, B, C, D. We know about the injuries. Remember, towards the end of 2025, actually, I think Saliba and Magalhaes were out. Ironically, around the time we're playing Aston Villa away and I think Chelsea away, we never had our centre-halves. Football's about relationships. We all know Saliba and Magalhaes is our first choice centre-half pairing. But if Mosquera can form a good partnership with two of the names I just said there, if Konsa can form a good partnership with Mosquera or two of the names I said there, again, with the rigors of a season, you need to be able to manoeuvre. And Manchester City used to have that. They used to have 3 good centre-halves or a lot of good defensive depth. At one point or another, whether it's Stones or this one or that one, someone's form will be out of this world and they can't be dropped. And also another thing is, obviously, you look at someone like William Saliba, he's going to be pushing back. You know, logic and football, you get where I'm going in it. It sometimes correlates, it sometimes doesn't. The logical decision without emotion would have been Saliba's been carrying this knot for a minute. You know, was on the painkillers to play in the Champions League final and play in the World Cup. The logical reason would have been not to do that. We all know all the players put their body on the line and put themselves in the fire. But it might mean we don't have to rush Saliba back, because people get into this trap of a man's out for 3 to 5 months. Let's just say the 5 months has been served. He's signed off medically fit, like today. That don't mean you can go out and play 3 games in 10 days, two a week. When you're out for that long, you are going to have setbacks and little niggles and knocks. And obviously, if we didn't have no one, we're going to be forcing the issue. Benjamin White's another one. Obviously, you know, he's our only fit right back. I back him to do his thing, but you probably wouldn't get too much of a payout from the bookies if you thought Benjamin White or Timber would have got injured. So we can take our time a bit on paper with Timber and Saliba with injuries. We can have confidence that if there's any other injuries, we've got people that can step in. And right now, to have Magalhaes, to have Mosquera, to have Benjamin White, to have Hincapié, Calafiori, Konsa, you know, the young Marley Salmon, if it gets to that, we can maneuver in it, people. The roots of the Ezri Konsa signing can be traced back to January when Arsenal contacted Mark Guehi's camp. Guehi's contract with Crystal Palace was due to expire in the summer, and Arsenal were exploring the possibility of adding a third centre-half to supplement William Saliba and Gabriel. As we know, Guehi chose to go to Manchester City. Arsenal's need for a new centre-back has been exacerbated by the absence of Saliba, who's expected to miss an extended period. Obviously, we've signed Guehi's international teammate now in Konsa, people. Again, Timber's in rehab. Saliba's still out. Konsa apparently ticks every box. What's more, he's homegrown. Arsenal currently have 17 non-homegrown players, the maximum permitted in a 25-man Premier League squad. Now, obviously, certain people are going to leave. The problem was always price. Arsenal's initial valuation for Konsa was close to 40 million, which, to be fair, you've overpaid, quote-unquote, for Bruno and Konsa, something we accuse our club of not doing. They held out for 60 million. We've agreed a 51 million bid, 51 million deal plus 4 million add-ons. talks at ownership level helped to secure a breakthrough. Now, that's interesting to me because that was what they said about Bruno G. So it did Berta struggle to get it over the line, and we had to ding in the big dog to talk to his other big dog and get it done. Who cares as long as we got the player? But just food for thought. From the start of the summer, there was a feeling that Villa could be vulnerable to a bid for Konsa. The defender had 2 years remaining on his contract and was the most sellable asset at the club outside of Morgan Rogers. Villa had offered a new contract that would have placed Konsa among their highest earners, but it remained unsigned. At 28, Villa were curious. This might be the opportune moment to cash in. In 2019, Villa paid in the region of 12 million to sign him from Brentford. So he's had a good 7 years. He's had a great 7 years. They've made a profit. They're doing what they're doing. Villa had planned for this, people. They've got Julian Ordonez of Club Brugge, and apparently they've tried to get Tomori, who, you know, is linked with leaving at AC Milan. They have been linked with Tyler Harwood-Bellis of obviously Southampton. Even before Arsenal stepped up their pursuit for Konsa this week, Villa had established several priorities and backup targets. For Konsa, Arsenal held significant appeal. All his friends are here, innit? Not only are they the Premier League champions, but the move offered a chance to play in London. Konsa has lived in the capital suburbs throughout his time with Villa, commuting the 118 miles to their Broadmoor Heath training ground. Now that's interesting. I didn't know, obviously. So that means he's been living in London and driving up to Birmingham. So it cuts his commute, people. I don't know if he's got kids, but he might be able to do the school run now. Konsa has a good rapport with Arsenal's England contingent, and the potential transfer was a topic of conversation among the international squad during the World Cup. The feeling amongst those players even then was that it was a matter of time. Konsa is particularly close with Bukayo Saka, who obviously he FaceTimed during Aston Villa's Europa League parade. He's born in Silvertown, people, which is, you know, in East London. Right, I never knew he played for SNUB, which is a prestigious team in Sunday League, you know. I mean, if you've brought through Ledley King, John Terry, Sol Campbell, legendary figures, you know, Konsa's come from a good establishment. And he's obviously had a great education at Charlton. Charlton, who don't get nowhere near enough credit for the players that they develop and what they go on and do, people. Positive conversations with Mikel Arteta added to Konsa's conviction about the move. Having already signed Bruno G from Newcastle, Arteta saw Konsa as another plug-in and play acquisition, someone who could step seamlessly into his side with minimal adaptation. And you know what? Ironically, unless they've, you know, if he completed the move officially yesterday by 12 p.m., then he is eligible to play against Coventry. If not, the earliest time we could see him in an Arsenal shirt is Aston Villa away, people. Life is kind of funny like that. Konsa is clear that his preference is to play centre-back, which has led Unai Emery to use him as a fullback infrequently in recent seasons. During the World Cup, however, Thomas Tuchel was content to deploy Konsa at right-back. It, in brackets, right-back, is a position I'm very familiar with. I've always said, wherever the manager wants me to be, I'll do my best and feel comfortable there, whether it's centre-back or right-back. That's music to my ears. And obviously, Ollie Watkins could also depart Aston Villa as well. With a significant gap between valuations of Konsa, Arsenal explored alternatives. There was interest in Christian Romero, and it was significant. Our assistant manager, Gabriel Heinze, was a strong advocate for his countryman. That was never going to get there. Arsenal have a long-standing interest in Atletico Madrid's Marc Pabil. Atletico were unwilling to consider selling him, even after they signed Romero. Obviously, we made inquiries to Bayern Leverkusen about Ezri Konsa. They had no interest in that. Recent negotiations between Arsenal and Aston Villa had been stained. Villa were unimpressed by the approach to a muted deal for Watkins in January 2025, and obviously Morgan Rogers' exit earlier this summer. Arsenal's conviction is that they needed a new defender, pushed them to try and find a solution. While precise prognosis for Saliba is difficult to determine, Arsenal expect him to miss several months. Konsa can bridge the gap and provide a valuable third central defensive option. Beyond that, as the two clubs edge towards agreement, any lingering friction was eased over by ownership level talks. Konsa's obviously said his goodbyes on Wednesday, people. He joins us for 51 million. He turns 29 in October. And obviously that also eased the burden on a young Mascara and Marley Salmon, because you got to remember, Mascara's talented, innit? I'm happy that the club didn't go with what some of you lot said in, oh yeah, we don't need one, we can gamble. I don't like gambling, because Mascara and Marley, Konsa's going to make mistakes. Experienced players make mistakes. But my point of mentioning their ages is Remember Gabriel, Magalhaes, and Saliba at them ages. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to drop clangers, and that's the only way you could grow. Now, even the players that are eligible to play centre-back, not that I want that to happen, you know, left-sided centre-back, you've got Gabriel, you've got Nketiah, you've obviously got Calafiori, right-sided centre-back, you've got Saliba, you've got Konsa, you've got Timber, you've got Benjamin White, you've got Marley, you've got Mascara. A couple of men on paper can play right-back now. Ben White, Timber, Mascara's obviously done a job there. Marley, in my opinion, can get minutes there. And now you've got Konsa. I never want to see it, but Declan Rice is an option at centre half. Remember, we saw Norgard there. So, yeah, man, we're good in those areas. Now, these areas were already strong, specifically, arguably, midfield and obviously centre half. We further made it strong, which I'm happy. And I like the signing of Zolis. A left winger would another attacking addition would really make me, yeah, it's all calm, people. So, yeah, we've got a wealth of options, as you lot know. And we've come a long way, man, because there's been times we've had players in defense, but they're not good. Like, and respectfully, we've come a long way from Mustafi, from Socrates, from David Luiz, from Pablo Mari. Some were a lot better than others. Look at the depth we've got now. You know, we're spoiled for options, really. I just wish the way we felt about our defensive ethos and our defenders, I just wish we felt the same way about probably the final third of the pitch, because defense, I'm sweet, you know. I want a right back next summer because Ben White probably goes. Midfield, I'm sweet. Lewis Kelly, Zubimendi, Declan Rice, Bruno G, Eze, Odegaard. You know, on paper, 1 year in down, we could do things there either this season or next season. You know, and there's a couple other names I'm missing. Left wing, it's really just Zolis that all my eggs are in. You could move Eze over there. On paper, Martinelli's still here, even though we expect him to leave, but you get the point. Arsenal may move to sign next Kvaratskhelia Barteshvili. I hope I said his name right. Forgive me if I haven't. Arsenal made a pre-contract offer to sign Georgia under-21 international Andrea Bartashvili, who has been compared with compatriot and PSG winger Kvaratskhelia. I'm all for this. If he really is that, then we're laughing. If we bring him in for low and sell him high, that's great. Obviously, we're bringing in a lot of British players. We've got the Ecuadorian twins. We've got a lad coming in from Ireland. Brought 1-2 Scottish players. And obviously, this guy, whether they're going to play for our 18s, 21s, go out on loan or whatever, was now looking to clock, oh my God, player trading. You know, if these guys don't make it and you can sell this one for 30, this one for 15, this one for 20, you can understand the cash reserves. You can begin to build up, people. I am wary of the comparisons because this is like any talented Brazilian. They're going to get called the next Neymar, next Vinicius. I can't act like I've watched my man play for 10 games, only seen highlights. Looks quite good. If you can get him on a pre-contract where it's essentially free, is what it is. Owing to Brexit laws, he can't sign for us until he's 18, people, if that's the case. Nonetheless, we've accelerated our interest in the 17-year-old attacker with the view to him arriving in London towards the end of the year when his contract with his parent club, FC Colvetti, expires. According to sources close to the player, Bartashvili, who is currently on loan at Iberia 1999, is believed to have other options and is still to decide on his next move. Now, I'd love him to sign for Arsenal, but, you know, if a Dortmund get involved, one of those clubs that let you develop and sell you, I could understand it. Apparently, Liverpool and Juventus are among the clubs with accredited interest. The Gunners' move for Bartashvili has been led by sporting director Andrea Berta's assistant, Maurizio Micheli, who is credited with unearthing Kvaratskhelia during his time with Napoli when he was chief scout. And apparently, we want to poach a scout from Borussia Dortmund. The youngster has been likened to Kvaratskhelia in Georgia, given their similar attacking attributes. Bartashvili would require the necessary international clearance to complete a move to Arsenal or any other Premier League club. So there could be 1-2 red tape. Miguel Delaney said Arsenal are looking into whether a deal for Kenan Yildiz is possible in this window. One solution has been raised in Martinelli potentially going the other way to Juventus, but that would still require considerable negotiation. And again, this journalist, who has probably been leading the Yildiz stuff this week, Juventus has rejected every approach from Arsenal for Yildiz. The London club was willing to offer 100 million euros. The player has turned down Arsenal. The player wants to stay in Turin after the new contract renewal. He only sees his future in Juventus. Atletico Madrid has been informed, has informed Alvarez apologies that they have agreed to negotiate his departure to Arsenal, but the player said no. Apparently, this is said Julian to Arsenal is now a real possibility. Atletico Madrid have changed their stance and Julian's exit can no longer be ruled out. Arsenal among serious options as Atletico possess the sporting and financial impact. So it all depends where you read. Me, I'm saying leave players alone that don't want to sign for us. I'm not even on a first choice thing, but the guy clearly got his heart set on Barcelona. So Atletico Madrid apparently, owing to this article, agrees transfer for Julian to Arsenal, but the player says no, people. So Arsenal remain keen. Again, Barcelona and Atletico Madrid, it's a bit of game playing. Apparently, you know, Gyökeres has been offered several times to Barcelona amongst other clubs. I don't think anybody necessarily cares to read this. Everton and Ipswich have made inquiries to Arsenal for Gabriel Jesus, with the Brazilian keen on the Premier League stay. David Moyes, if you could save us one more time, that would be great, people. Arsenal would probably have moved for Ellie Junior Krupi had he not been for his injury, and that does represent an option for January. I'll wait till January for him personally. Mikel Arteta has quashed rumours of Lewis Skelly departing and also Zubimendi. He's a really important player. Without a doubt, he's one of the best players for Arsenal last season. Without him, we'd have never got into this position that we got into in the last few weeks. Big him up for that. Apparently, Bruno G was not spotted in Arsenal's training pictures, and there are some social media rumblings that he's injured. I don't want to add fuel to the fire. United just need to leave Lewis Skelly alone, innit? United studied the conditions of signing Lewis Skelly. The player had been offered to United via intermediaries, and interest was there. Lewis Skelly did not start much under Mikel Arteta last season, suggesting a potential availability, even though he was excellent in Arsenal's final 2 games of the Champions League. But in recent days, it became clear Lewis Skelly, 19, would not leave his boyhood club this summer. So all attention at United became focused on Belieber, people. So it all depends what you want to read. But let's hope we can get a left winger. And I think our business is done, excluding outgoings.